Good evening, everyone. Just a sec. And slide is visible on the screen?
Yes. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. So the topic is diabetic retinopathy mimics. Now the list is so long that I can go endlessly on them. So I would just be elaborating one and then brief of a few more. I'm not going to compare the first case with a typical book picture of diabetic retinopathy. I have a case which was a 60-year-old male that came to us with ocular pain and gradual diminution of vision in the left eye since a year, associated with frequent episodes of transient loss of vision. He had a history of hypertension, diabetes since 20 years. On examination, right eye best corrected visual acuity was 6/9 and left was 6/24. Anterior segment showed good pseudophakia, and the fundus was on the left side is the fundus of the case that I'm going to discuss on, and right side is a case of a mild diabetic retinopathy. Why I'm showing this? Because the mild retinopathies are the most ones which are frequently missed onto. So is this a normal fundus? The answer is no. It has got few scattered microaneurysms, few scattered dot and blot hemorrhages, dilated veins, and severely constricted arteries. So looking at this, we went on with an angiogram. Now at 14 seconds in the arterial phase, the case that I'm talking about is still there is early patchy choroidal filling, which shows there is an increased arm choroid time. At 19 seconds in the late venous phase, where on the left-hand side in a normal picture, you can see that there's a lamellar flow going through the veins. In our case, it is still in the choroidal phase. At 30 seconds in the recirculation phase, where most of all the vessels are completely filled up, just the arterial phase has begun here, which also shows there is an increased arm retinal time. At 1 minute in the recirculation phase, this case is still the veins are not filled. Just the early venous phase has started. And at 3 minutes, when normally you don't see staining of anything, here the disc and the vessels, all of them have completely stained up. So looking at it, the plan of action was we went on with complete blood investigations, complete cardiac workup, carotid Doppler, a magnetic resonance angiography. Patient, from the reports, the patient was diagnosed to have a bilateral carotid stenosis, left more than the right. So the conclusion here is any patient with history of gradual loss of vision and ocular pain complaint is very important here. Complaint of ocular pain with history of diabetes, hypertension, stroke, cardiovascular event in the past, with grossly normal looking fundus, with no evident cause of loss of vision is found. Kindly suspect ocular ischemic syndrome and go for angiogram. Now coming on to other conditions which mimic diabetes, hypertension is the most common. Most of the time we see mixed retinopathies, but as far as an individual isolated hypertensive retinopathy, we should make sure we should ask the history of hypertension. In our country and our case scenario, most of the patients are not aware of hypertension. It goes undiagnosed. So we should make it a point of measuring blood pressure of every patient when we suspect a retinopathy. So the systemic history of hypertension is important. We see AV changes in hypertensive cases, which could be early narrowing atherosclerotic changes of the arterioles, pressing onto the venules over the crossings, and nicking sign can be present. Choroidal infarcts can be seen as you can see with an arrowhead here. There is a choroidal infarct present near the fovea with a serous detachment over it. And this edema can be present in cases with malignant hypertension. The second condition that can mimic diabetic retinopathy is central branch or retinal vein occlusion. Usually they can occur as an isolated event or in combination with conditions like diabetes or hypertension. They are most of the times unilateral. Usually patient presents with history of acute onset of loss of vision due to macular edema. Hard exudates are rarely seen in an acute phase because they are the sign of resolving retinal edema. Hemorrhages scattered in the area of vessel involvement. Most of the times you see flame-shaped hemorrhages. As the case which is there underneath the below case, it's a case of hemiretinal vein occlusion. You can see the rest of the retina here appears normal. Only the involved vessel becomes tortuous. Now, retinopathy is secondary to anemia, hyperviscosity, and hypercoagulable states. Retinopathy can occur between second decade to old age. Here you can see various forms of retinal hemorrhages, and the identity of this conditions is you see a Roth spot. It is a retinal hemorrhage with a white center. The center is because of either the infiltration of the cells or because of the rupture of the capillary and the aggregation of platelets over it. So certain hypercoagulable conditions can also lead to vein occlusions. The picture which is underneath, the bottom picture shows a branch retinal vein occlusion. Most of the hyperviscosity or hypercoagulable states like protein S, protein C deficiency, which causes branch retinal vein occlusion, most of the time there tends to be more ischemic than compared to a branch retinal vein occlusion that occurs in either a plain diabetic or a hypertensive patient. So that is why you can see more number of cotton wool spots in the bottom picture. This is a leukemic retinopathy. In majority of cases, here the patient has already been diagnosed elsewhere as having leukemia, and then it turns out to be having also have a retinopathy which is leukemic. The hemorrhages here are similar to what we have seen in the previous cases. Even the rod spots are here, which can be seen by an arrow here. There could be a vascular tortuosity, and sometimes disc edema can also be associated to it, depending upon the infiltration of the cancer cells on the optic nerve.
Please
This
continue.
is this is a conclusion slide. I'm not going to go in detail of this. This is a flowchart of approach to a case of every condition that mimics diabetes based on the finders finding.